Hold? How often do you hold?
I do not. I only hold when I'm doing an up down. That's probably the only times I ever do a hold.
What about if someone chambers you? What do you do to get around that? Footwork?
I would either counter chamber it, block it, or just go around them, sidestep them. And another thing I'm pretty good at sidestepping people and just being able to get that constant spam out to where they have no breathing room to be able to counter me.
Now, when you spam, do you use the footwork to be able to do it?
Oh yeah, you need the footwork because just spam while standing there, you're just going to get stabbed back.
Uh huh. So do you like? Theo taught me how to sidestep, and he says you don't hold down W and D key or W and A key. You just hit one at a time. Do you do the same thing? Does
Not
that make sense?
exactly. I mean, when I, of course, do sidesteps, I would usually chamber with it and then sidestep to where it's really hard to counter chamber it unless that person's really good. But I'm trying to think how I do sidesteps. I hold W and D. I don't know how he's holding D down. He'll be out of range if he did that.
I don't know.
I
I've done it before, and it's quite effective. But that's not what we need to get too focused on.
Yeah.
When you fight Godfried, all right, he's like the ultimate passive player, and you're like the
You
ultimate
want to know what
aggressive
you do
player.
against? Oh, my bad.
Like, how
Just
is
say
that?
that again.
Well, you're the ultimate aggressive player, and he's the ultimate passive player. So what's like the dynamics when you two fight?
In a group fight or dueling?
We can go over both, but so let's start with dueling since that's Godfried's like
Dueling,
zone.
when I duel him, I try to go ultra aggressive. Basically, chamber block or chamber spam. Try to wear him down. But recently, he's hard to wear down because all he does is stun block and all that. So
Uh huh.
I just play passive back, and so it just turns into a boring group duel. And I don't like dueling people that are passive. It gets boring really quickly. That's why I'm not good at dueling.
And that's how you
But
die because
I
group
don't.
fighting is a different
Group.
aspect to it.
It's a completely different aspect. When Godfrey's in a group fight, if I would just switch off of him because you need to kill as many people as possible if you are considered a carry in a regiment. So if someone's giving you too much time, guess what? Get off of him, kill someone else, because I bet you will find someone else easier to kill
How long
than
do you
him.
focus on one person? What's your rule? I guess
At max 5 seconds. If it takes
one,
longer
two,
than
three, four, five.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. 5 seconds
Gone.
is a long time. And if someone is surviving for longer than 5 to 10 seconds, that person is not worth the kills. Get off of him and then try to kill more people. Because if you're in a 2v1
Uh-huh.
and you're the two, of course, and you're trying to kill the one guy and he's like up blocking both up downs, get off of him and kill the rest of his teammates, and then you will have even more teammates surround him and then kill him.
So when you're working with your teammates, so like let's say you and Waste are working, how's the dynamics of that when you're in a situation you're 2v1ing?
When we're 2v1ing,
Uh-huh.
you at first you would really want to set up who's going to go down and who's going to go up. This is you can of course either talk in team speak about it or do the more natural way, and of course automatically when you're with your teammate and you know you're going to 2v1 this dude, of course you're going to go in with the attack, and you try not to switch your attack. If I'm going with a down block or a down attack and Lace is coming up, running up, he's most likely going to go with an up attack because up down, and yeah, you really, if you're able to learn that the naturally up down people, you will also be really successful in group fighting
So what do you do in 2v1s?
or 1v2s.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that's what I meant to say.
um
1v2s.
I you have to kill one of them or cause a team kill because you can't sit there and block in. And to mention the 5v5, we did Havoc and I did against you and Souls.
Uh-huh.
You I'm going to critique you for a second.
Go
Let the
for it.
master speak. You would you would you would only block.
Uh-huh.
And that's no way you will never win that situation if you only block. You're really good at blocking, and if you started throwing some attacks here and there, you could probably start clutching situations. But since you're only blocking against blocking as two people, those two people at one point are just gonna, all right, let's just hold on this dude, and then they're gonna hold on you, and then you can't do anything then, and then you die. So how to clutch those situations is that you try to be as aggressive as possible, and try to have only be fighting one person, have the other person to where he cannot get into the fight.
So
So
so this is going to be more personal to me right now, but when do I go from like blocking? Because is that blocking useful, or is it just like what
blocking
situations?
is really useful when you're in those type of situations, but you
Because I can
cannot.
hold off a 2v1 for a long
Yeah,
damn
you
time now.
could, and that's probably really useful in a group fight. But when you're doing like 2v2s, or when a group fight's down to that point, you
Uh huh.
cannot rely on your blocking, because when you block for long periods of time, you can rely on your teammates to come up. But when you're in a 2v2 situation, you cannot. You don't have anyone. You have no reinforcements.
Yeah, so like let's analyze. So for the people listening right now, me and Russian recently had a 2v2. He was with Havoc and I was with Soul, and we got destroyed by a Russian. So what
And
exactly do you
Havoc.
do? Yeah, and Havoc, but more so you.
Yeah.
What do you do in that like situation? What did we do wrong? Do you remember how it went?
I was able to pick off your teammate really easily. That was really it, and you two will separate
Uh huh.
to where one of you would be on the one side and you would be on the other, and Havoc and I would be in the middle. And of course, Havoc and I were target switching the entire time, and that's as of earlier, that's the number one key rule: target switching in group fighting. And so
Is it
we
the
were
same
able.
thing in 2v2s?
Yes, is it target switching in any type of group fighting situation will always be key if you want to win that situation. And so Havoc and I was able to kill your teammate pretty easily
Uh huh.
because we knew you will only block. So we decide, hey, since Anthony is going to only block and be a little bit more passive than his teammate, what will you throw an attack at him, he will throw an attack at you, and then you're going to switch off of, Havoc would switch off of you and would help me up down your teammate, and then after we kill your teammate, we'll go after you.
All right. So simply, your advice to me would be just be a lot more aggressive.
You have to be aggressive if you're in a situation to where two enemies are target switching. Because if you're aggressive in their targets, if you're passive in their target switching, you're letting them do whatever they want.
Uh huh. So is that blocking useful in the sense of like, let's say I'm in a 1v2? Because I can imagine if I'm supposed to be attacking, it can be useful, but like, what would you say on that aspect?
You will,
Like, if you had to make Anthony, like, mold him right now and make him a great 2v1 player with his
melt him
blocking,
down, make him into a beautiful masterpiece.
all right, how would you do that? How would you go about doing that? What would you say with his style right now that's causing him the error? Like, he knows how to block really well, but what is it about just with his blocking that is that actually hurting him because he blocks so much?
It's hurting you because you're blocking so much, or him if we're going to describe you in the third person.
All right.
But it's really hurting you right now. But if you start going on group fighting and getting into the habit of trying to be a little bit more aggressive with your play style, you could start actually probably influencing a difference on a flank, and thus the rest of the group fight. Because you're really good at 1v2 in blocking, but as I said earlier, that's only good if you have reinforcements coming in. If it's only you and the other two, you're obviously going to die if you only block.
Yeah.
So I would recommend to always keep and only be fighting one enemy, as I said earlier. Always fighting one of them. Keep the other one out of the engagement. And if you can chamber and you're able to chamber one of them pretty easily, get him killed, or have their teammate kill him, or you don't have to chamber exactly, but you could feint them.
So I'm on
them.
one. I'm fighting one guy. When do I target switch to the other guy?
When the other guy has an attack out, like an up attack. So when he's trying to come into your right, for instance, and so there's one in front of you and one coming to your right. The guy in the front, of course, if you have your attack out, he's going to be trying to block you, and his other teammate is holding an up attack. So usually you would want to go and kill the guy who's holding the up attack. But sometimes that guy tries to bait you into attacking him so that his teammate can. So he stuns you, and so that his teammate can kill you. So at that point, you have to have good blocking skills to be able to survive that type of situation. But if you're able to kill the guy who's holding the up attack, of course it's a duel, and then...
I got my duels down pat. That's not something I'm worried about.
Yeah.
All right, well, Russian, are there any final notes you'd like to leave? I'm the most underrated player ever. What do you have to plug? So I know you're in a regiment right now. If somebody wants to join, what do they do?
I'm of course in the NR4, and if you want to join, just of course ask DJ or Raphael on Steam. I am also currently leading Team America in WWC. So that'll be fun. Hopefully we can get the NA server to where it can be fair for once, but
how is that going to work? Just as we end this podcast.
Currently, right now, they're making changes to how the scoring is going to work. But it used to be best of 20, so I thought like the side that reaches first to 10 would obviously switch to the others, or we'll do like 10 rounds on an EU server, and then we'll do 10 rounds on an NA server. And then that will continue on, but they're changing that now, and the Europeans are too afraid of facing us on our own server because they don't want to tie us. They don't want to tie, they don't want to lose, because we could possibly beat them on their own server, because most of us on the East Coast have around 110 ping.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got a VPN recently, and I used to have 160, but now I got 110. So
yeah, and people like Fireboy and DJ who are really close to Europe in their terms of geographical position, New Jersey and New York, and they're able to get 80 or 90 ping. So if anything, we have the advantage compared to a team like the Polish who have to come on a New York server, while we have to go on a French server. So, but I to be honest, I really doubt it now that we're going to get that, because they don't want to lose. It's as simple as that. They don't want to lose. They don't want to give us the opportunity to beat them. They say it's a European tournament. The only reason why they named it NWWC because NWEC was already taken.
All right. Well, you heard it there, Europeans. It's time for you to open up your servers, or you're cowards.
Yeah. And of course, another thing I'm doing, I'm of course the moderator in ANWO Season 8.
All right. That's going to be exciting, too, to see how that develops. So, thank you, Russian, for coming on the podcast today. I hope you guys had an excellent time listening. If there are any other people you want to recommend to come on, or any other ideas you have to make the podcast better, let me know. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your night.